guys heard about this Burning Man situation? The festival?
No,
Whoa. We have something like that in the South, but it's not related.
and I'm out of here.
Whoa.
We lost our engineer in 3 seconds flat.
He's done.
And there he goes.
Okay, there he goes.
Way to go, Peter.
Good
Way to go.
job. 36 into the podcast, we lost our engineer because you had to go there.
Out of the kindness of his heart, Christian's coming back. How you doing, Christian?
Burning Man. I've heard a lot of stuff about pretentious hippies coming here or something?
You didn't have to say pretentious, but yeah, they are.
You're right. It's
a little redundant.
Redundant, yeah.
But yeah, but they got themselves stuck in the desert because that's where this festival is being held. Now a little bit of background, like this was something that began in California, in the beaches, whatever. It was basically the premise of it is kind of like a counterculture thing, and they're kind of putting the thumb in the eye of traditional culture, whatever. But what I found very interesting and just sort of poetic justice, not that I wished anything bad to happen to any of them, but when they got out there, they're trying to get away from it all, in a way, trying to get away from civilization.
They brought everything with them.
Brought everything with them at a very, very, very reasonable $575 per person, by the way. So it's like bow tie, white, whatever you want to call it, type of an event. And then on top of it, they get out there and they're in the middle of the desert, so they're setting up their little, commune or whatever to have this festival. Good for them, right? But then what happens is
there's 74,000 people out there.
70,000 plus, right?
74,000.
All Instagramming.
All Instagram. Right. Exactly. And then what happens is there's torrential downpour or something. So what happens is it becomes like literally a humanitarian crisis situation. They all get stuck out there, and the same people who were trying to get away from it all were climbing over each other to try to get back to civilization. It became like a major evacuation scenario. And some of the participants, did you hear about this? They were people closed the roads, not even officials. People closed the roads in some instances. I don't know if they were trying to either keep people there just for the sake of keeping them there, or they were trying to reduce the bottlenecks so they could get out first. Some people were stuck there for 2 days.
This was the first step towards Soylent Green. It was we can get rid of the Burning Man people.
Right, exactly.
We'll close the roads. No one will miss them.
Right, nobody will notice the smell. It'll be fine.
2 days they were stuck there. Right.
And the mud was thick. I saw some of it. They were up to their knees in some places.
Yeah.
This is when they found out that the little crossover SUVs aren't actually made for off-road.
Soylent Green is Burning Man people.
This is great because I hope every single one of them learned something about refugees coming into other places and actually maybe learned a small part of what it's like.
What it's actually like, not what you think it's like or want it to be like.
Yeah, exactly. Instead of being out there. Because I like what you said about counterculture, because everything in America that is counterculture ends up becoming, ironically, culture.
Right, exactly.
In the worst way possible.
Immediately commercialized.
Oh, for sure.
Immediately.
Yeah.
I mean, they couldn't have.
Beautiful.
And the event organized, they couldn't have monetized this fast enough.
Yeah.
That was like A-lister kind of concert scene, you know what I mean? And they're just no, you could just be in the desert out here, basically on your own. But just hit us with 575.
Some guy in a pickup truck was the one to drive Chris Rock out. He was hanging on the back on the trailer on the back. I saw the video. It's him and 2 or 3 other people, and Chris Rock just hanging out there trying to get the hell out of the desert.
I love celebrities getting reality checks.
It's
I mean, look, it's just they just bought a bunch of containers. It's literally just they all put in a circle, and I mean that's like some weird crop circle type thing. That is crazy.
It is crazy, and
I love it.
And I don't know. Did anyone not learn anything from the footage of Woodstock 1969? That was just a little muddy, and even that became kind of a humanitarian crisis. So and they were in New York State. It wasn't like they were in the Nevada desert, wherever it was. You know what I'm saying?
I guess the idea is they didn't think it was going to get that way because they are in the desert and it never rains. So there is kind of that. I'll give them that much, to be honest. But
everyone there probably thinks of themselves as an environmentalist, and they've got their finger on the pulse of climate and everything else, and they didn't see this coming.
But this reminds me of this, we were talking about the Fyre Festival that didn't happen, right? The biggest party that never happened, and Netflix has got a great special on that right now about it, and Hulu has one too. And I feel bad for the people who the local laborers who try to put the camps together because they got stiffed and they get paid. That part's awful.
That's terrible.
What I don't feel bad about are all the people who paid $3,000 and $4,000 for bungalows and flew themselves down there to go watch Blink 182.
Right.
And then it turned out that nothing was happening and it wasn't actually a thing, and they had to turn around and go back. I have no remorse for you assholes.
No,
whatsoever.
not
It's
at all.
crazy because it literally was just an island, and they didn't even have everything on there. It was hilarious. But I love the reality check of what you said because all these kids will be like 20, 25. They're like, oh my god, like Woodstock, I would have loved to be there. I'm like, it wouldn't last 5 seconds.
No,
outside for
no
5 minutes.
way.
And part of why they were so high is just because it was probably like really hot or like whatever. I don't know, but like you said,
the only way to
muddy,
cope with it.
Rainy.
Yeah.
I've seen like some pictures like. It looks gross. Like in all honesty,
it
looks
was
gross.
It was
exactly.
gross.
Yeah.
I mean, you're out there, you're covered in mud. You probably don't smell the best
No,
after a few hours.
Those
Do they
people
have
they
deodorant
smell
in
bad going in.
1969, or-
Exactly. But like this, the Burning Man Festival, they were stuck there 2 days. I think in Woodstock, they were out there for at least 3 days. I'm thinking.
At least,
At
yeah.
least.
I don't think they were stuck though. I think they could leave when it was time to leave for the
it
most
wasn't like
part.
a stuck situation.
Yeah,
Right.
but-
I think they were still messy, but I think they also didn't care because again, they were happy. They all smell like petroleum. It's like,
I saw those big caravans though, like all the footage
Right.
of them trying to get out, and like people died out there. People died at the Burning Man Festival. One guy died.
One guy died.
Now who knows what the reason
one
was?
person dies
but-
at every single EDM
Yeah.
related festival. from
I think
heat
that's
stroke.
true.
Right.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
didn't know somebody died at Woodstock. Interesting.
A few people died at Woodstock, and there were
Okay.
assaults and all kinds of shit.
Well, yeah, that makes sense.
Rough.
Like the crime and stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
every
People
single.
love-
But these were all
person-
hippies.
People love to romanticize Woodstock and all that bullshit.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
the same people who are like, "Gosh, I wish I grew up in the 1950s." Like, are
no,
you sure
no,
about
you
that?
don't.
You
Yeah.
don't.
Like,
You really don't.
you know, like AC wasn't like really a thing.
No.
You know, I met someone who looked like me that said that one time, and I just looked at them and I was like, "You sure about that? You sure? You good?"
And I think Woodstock was
right.
probably like the first of that kind of festival anyway. So
Right.
it was sort of the notoriety of it. It wasn't necessarily the quality or anything that went on. And some of the bands, like Hendrix went on like 12 hours late or something.
Yeah, yeah,
Started playing at
okay.
like 6 in the morning or whatever it was. And like half the people didn't even know they were there anymore. They were so wasted.
The
so
Woodstock,
wasted tired.
Woodstock '99 or whatever was just as bad, if not worse, because there were like dumpster fires and people.
yeah.
There was all it was
Yeah.
like 100 degrees, and
Yeah.
it's 105 degrees in the shade. There's no shade, and to make matters worse, Chris Rock. I mean, not Chris Rock. I'm sorry,
Kid Rock.
rather. It's like right in front of you.
Chris Rock back in
Chris Rock
Woodstock,
would have
you
been
know.
fun. Yeah, that was no. Sorry, Kid Rock was right in front of you, and it's like, this is not going to get any worse. And then somebody set your cabin on fire, and it's like, oh, it just got worse.
That's right. Yeah, I mean that was like that was an actual riot that
Right.
happened there.
Yep.
that was not just like a few things
Actual
went
things
wrong.
burning,
Like it was an
Yep.
actual. It was it was a political protest. Just kidding. No, but it was.
Do you guys know who Frank Ocean is?
Frank Ocean, yeah.
Frank Ocean is probably one of the most iconic artists of like mid 2010s, like R&B type pop music. Amazing artist, but he came to Coachella and he hasn't performed in 7 years. He almost never performs.
Okay.
And then like halfway through, like 2 days in, people have waited like easily 5 to 7 years to see him perform.
Yeah.
He cancels. It was a very, very
Like
big
Connor.
deal for him not to be. Yeah,
Oh.
basically last minute.
Connor. Sorry, bro.
No, you're fine, but like people like paid so much to come over here. And that's what I was when I was like contractually, he can't have like that has to be a problem. Like if I was the festival, I would sue the crap out of him because he was also a headliner too.
Yeah.
Right.
Right,
And
they're a
just was
headliner,
like
yeah.
halfway through.
Oh
I'm not
yeah,
doing
I mean
this.
that would have killed the thing anyway. Let alone all the other stuff that was going
yeah, it
on. You know what I
completely
mean?
killed it.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
Well, like Blink-182 backed out of the Fyre Festival before it even started, so they couldn't, go after them. They kind of had a feeling this is a shit show. We don't want to be part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
they
they were the smart ones, and then it turns out nobody was.
Surprisingly,
Yeah, surprisingly.
They
Yeah.
had some forward intel or something. You know what I mean? Because it just does seem weird that they would like, oh, I'm just backing out now. Like when you're the headliner on top of it, you're not like one of 20 acts or something.
Right.
You can't
Yeah.
make it. It's not quite like
Well, I mean,
that.
that's
Yeah.
the weird thing too, but like you also have to think like how far it really got. Like you
Yeah.
have people like Kylie Jenner and other stuff promoting and putting it out there. Like, the fact that it got as far as it got with what it actually was is crazy. So I wouldn't be surprised if they did show up and were like, oh, this is not fun at all.
Oh, but they showed they showed buses of the people showing up to the place, and they were just these white bubble domes, which were there for like disaster relief from the last hurricane that blew through. That was their $3,000 a night bungalows that they were supposed to be paying for. They're like, no, pack it up and turn around, and they just, that's not what they were
I
promised.
mean, this looks like an internment camp.
Yeah, it is.
It kinda
basically
became
is,
that, yeah.
It's kinda
The
crazy.
map that they showed everybody looked like it was its own separate island, and it's not. It's just the top of one of the islands of the Bahamas, and like 30 feet beyond that or behind that is like Sandals Resort. So
Oh,
it's
yeah,
not
no, there's
even like
nothing there.
it's not abandoned or anything like that. It's just they just lied.
I don't think they would have hung around so long or so many people wouldn't have gone if they hadn't paid so much
Right.
for the privilege of being there.
for
you know what I
sure.
mean?
Yeah,
If this was
yeah.
like a low ticket, forget it. I don't think anyone would have shown up. They would have been like, yeah, it's just not even worth it.
Part. They paid so much, and like when you,
Yeah.
this is something weird I see people doing a lot. And when they put a big time commitment and they still realize they don't want to be there, they still go just because of how much they put into it.
Yeah.
And like it's not worth
Yeah.
it.
They don't want to be the ones to not go and then miss out. The fear of
Exactly.
fear
Yeah.
of missing out or whatever.
It's like one of like the scams of like if you just keep sending money, and then well, I've spent so much and I've given so much, it's got to come true at some point. And I think that's
You guys heard
basically
about the
this was a
guy-
The
scam.
Nigerian prince said he
sold-
needed my help.
Thank you, exactly.
There's a guy who sold the Eiffel Tower to people. This was back in like the 18 or 1900s.
Yeah.
There's a guy who
You're
sold
right,
a
he's
whole
right.
airport to like France or something.
Oh.
Some Nigerian guy.
Have
or
you-
something.
Wow.
He sold the whole airport for like $220 million. It did not exist. Like, it's awesome. To believe. I'm so serious. Who was that?
Wow.
Have you guys ever heard of a guy named Soapy Smith?
No.
Soapy Smith.
In the 1800s, this dude, there was a mining operation in the town that he lived in. So he set up a telecommunications, like one of those like the Morse code places to send messages.
Right.
This was like 20 years before they laid lines down to send messages to people.
Oh
wow.
So he would get the messages and just be like, he would write fake correspondence back to people. Wow. He was in operation for like 10 years. They called him Soapy Smith too because he used to sell soap to people. Yeah. But he would claim it was this fucking miracle soap.
Yeah,
and
right,
be
right.
like, it's the greatest soap in the world. It's
snake
so
oil.
good. He was a snake oil salesman.
Yeah.
But he would hide $100 bills in like one bar of soap, and then one of his goonies would open it up, be like, I found the $100.
I found the Wonka ticket.
Yeah,
I was about to say,
exactly.
I think I've seen that movie. I was about to say that. Yeah.
Nah, dude, Soapy is like one of my favorite like history con men. When I heard
That's a great
when I
story. I
heard
gotta
that
look
he
into
did
him.
when I heard that he did the fucking tap lines,
Yeah.
I was like, you genius. It's so evil and awesome at the same time.
If you're not victimized by it, it's amazing to listen to.
Oh yeah, 110%. It's just
Wow.
hilarious.
Well, like, when I was watching the Fyre Festival, the documentary, I just kept thinking to myself, this is hysterical. Because it wasn't like really, like when it was happening, I'm sure it was absolutely not hysterical, but now and years later, watching it as a documentary, it's just fucking hysterical.
At some point, some of the people had to think it was funny, too.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
yeah. Just like,
At some point. There's a little bit of humor to it somewhere.
yeah,
Just
they
like this
paid for
podcast.
custom, what do you call it? When you bring food in, the catering. They paid for catering, and what they got was basically like this little house salad and a cheese sandwich, and that was what they paid all this money for. It was
my
just,
God.
like nothing worked out. It was just really, really
How
delicious.
did they sell the idea of this being like
It gets better.
pay
They're,
this much for
they're
tickets?
trying to make another one. They've
This
already
was
agreed to
this
try to
was
make
the
a part
dinner.
two.
It's
Yeah,
right
that's
there.
it. Yep, that's the
Piece of
famous
bread,
cheese.
2 slices of cheese,
Yep.
and a little
sandwich,
arugula
yep.
salad or
Send me that
something.
link so we can put it in the editing.
Yep, that absolutely.
no,
That
I
went
got
viral when it was there, and it went absolutely nuts. And the
That's
guy,
insane.
right, while he was trying to avoid jail, he started selling fake tickets to like the Emmys and the Oscars and stuff like that. So, like while he's awaiting like prison,
That's so real.
trying to go to jail, and then he's got the audacity to say, "Oh, Fyre 2 is going to be back. It's going to be better than ever." It's like, wait, you can't get much worse, can you?
Well, I think Fyre 1 is basically just a unicorn. He's just selling another unicorn. So
Yeah.
it's just as real as the first one, I guess.
Yeah.
My God. But just to, like, he had no issue with, like, you know what, maybe this is going to hurt my credibility down the line.
You know,
what I mean? Like,
he went to jail.
yeah, he
Like,
totally
Yeah.
went to
Oh,
jail.
for
Like,
sure,
he went
yeah.
to jail. And
Yeah.
what I love about this, too, is, like, he's promoting, oh, yeah, Firefest 2 is happening. You go to the Wikipedia page of this dude, the first thing it says, William Z. McFarlane is an American con artist and convicted felon who co-founded the ill-fated Fyre Festival.
But he sells tickets to the
It, like,
greatest
really
shows
made
of
him
all
infamous,
time.
Though.
Yeah.
Like, people would definitely go to a second one just to be like, "Ha, Fyre Festival 2, guys!" Like,
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
yeah,
do
yeah.
it ironically,
Hilarious.
and then
Yeah,
he
exactly.
just wandering in the desert like everybody else.
Yeah,
It's like, maybe we should
my
do
God.
Fyre 3 over here, and just like let them go wander around, Teaneck
Just
or
on the
something.
beach, just
Right.
on
He
the
just puts
beach.
it like where like riots are happening in America. He's like, "This is the Portland Fyre Festival. Everybody, show up now!" Like what?
God.
They already sold out the first day?
No,
What?
it's not
Come
even
on.
real. How can
Come
it sell
on.
out?
The festival's website says the event was targeted for the end of 2024 in the Caribbean, and
Yeah.
that the first batch of tickets has already sold out.
They are early pre-sale tickets are
Might be
sold out.
pre-sale. Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's really
pre-sale.
happening.
How y'all gonna buy snake oil again?
I know. Well, maybe that's kind of the whole point.
I
Like,
hope it's
like
worse.
almost like they
Yeah.
want to victimize themselves just so they can say they were there. But don't you think it's interesting that
You're
he
probably
won't
right.
he won't hold it in the U.S. Like it's in the
Of course.
Caribbean.
I
You know
hope
what
he
I
puts
mean?
it in Haiti.
I would
Just
hold,
so
yeah, no,
happy.
I'd hold it in a non-extradition state
Yes,
too.
exactly.
Like,
Hold it in like the Sudan or something.
That'll go over
Yeah,
big.
'cause he can't go to jail, right?
Yeah, you can because he
Wait,
did
why did he go to
wire
jail
fraud.
last time then?
For wire
yeah.
fraud.
Yeah, they'd have
okay.
jurisdiction over him here.
Oh,
yeah.
got
yeah.
it. Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
There go
I
your
want a
plans,
little,
dude. There
I
go your
want to see
plans.
like
So-
the biopic of
CIA
this though,
secrets.
like the movie of this. It's probably going to be ridiculously funny.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we should make that movie.
He should make his own movie because that would be funny.
Oh, it'd
to
be
see
like
It
how
would
he
be funny,
frames it.
actually.
Where he's
Yeah.
an executive producer of his own fucking
Look at these
biopic.
idiots.
It's like look what I pulled over on these guys.
Sells tickets to a movie that doesn't exist. Yeah.
Yeah. Then it sounds like it's in the movie. The movie doesn't exist.
Just sit in the theater, looking at a blank
Yeah,
screen.
yeah.
It's
I like
it's
that.
genius. It's art.
Ironically, people did that. But we can't talk about any of that without talking about Sam Bankman-Fried. Do you guys know who this guy is?
The thought came to mind as soon as we were thinking about
the FTX guy.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
He has
Talk
the
about
best
a scam.
He has like the best real life villain hair. You know what I'm saying?
No,
like,
he looks
really
like
does.
a villain.
Yeah, he
looks
totally
like a
looks like a
cartoon,
villain,
bro. Like,
look at
oh
him.
my god,
goofy ass, bro.
Like if the Batman series had continued, he would have been the next villain. You know what I'm saying?
Who's this guy?
Sam Bankman-Fried ran a huge scam with FTX, which was a huge crypto trading platform that ended up basically like scamming people out of a lot of money. And yeah, it was basically all fake almost in a way, but he still denies it.
Yeah, he was like he was effectively money laundering. He was taking money from investors, like considerable money, like millions of dollars, and using to like prop up some other venture that failed.
That's Ponzi, basically.
Just totally Ponzi
Yeah,
scam.
basically
Yeah, but it was like in the billions of dollars.
Wow.
But what made it also more interesting is that the dude is like way young on top of it, but also he was like getting himself, he was signing up with like all these celebrities and these like high-level politicians.
Huge deal.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a big problem also because a lot of that money actually went to actual campaigns for Joe Biden, and people were like, yo, like, the money that you laundered, part of it ended up in political campaigns, which is a whole nother deal.
Right.
Wow.
He just infected like every single person, organization, whatever that he came within 100 miles of. You know what I'm saying? And now he's in custody now. Like he violated his like conditions of pretrial release.
He's sent to jail if the judge revokes bail.
Right. It's pretrial detention. He hasn't been convicted of anything
How
yet, but
messed up
clearly
in the
he
head
will.
Do you have to be to just keep doing the same shit
Yeah.
over and over again, thinking it's gonna work this time, guys?
Yeah, well, you know, it's just like kick the can down the road. I think the same thing with Bernie Madoff and all the Ponzi scheme guys. They all think at some point something will give, and then I'll be able to make everybody whole. But man, talk about wishful thinking.
Bernie Madoff, like, I don't know why he's not like a god. I mean, dude, he scammed billions. Like the fact that he even got that big is like, it's impressive.
Well, he also relied very heavily on like his Madoff. He relied very heavily on like his personal relationships with key people.
Oh yeah,
and then from there they're like, hey, this is my guy over here. You know, he's making me millions on paper. You know, and on and on.
It
and
became
that's
like a status thing to work with him. That's why people wanted him so badly.
But I also think that like this other dude we were talking about, Bankman, he's like, I think he was trading on the currency of like, you'll be associated with this cause. You'll be associated with polite society. You'll be associated with this. And so you didn't have to know him or anyone who invested.
And the platform is genuine. Like FTX was like the second largest crypto exchange platform. That's the thing that gets me, because with Friedman, like he didn't actually need to really do a scam. Like people were trading on his platform like, it would be like if Robinhood pulled like a giant scam for no reason. You'd be like,
well, they did.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, this is funny. Something I looked up. If you look up like bank scams, every single bank has like a roster of scams.
Oh, yeah.
We talked about this. And basically, like they make more money by just fucking you over instead of, you know, actually,
right. And then if they get caught, they apologize. They pay a small percentage, little thing back, and then
and they make more off of it. So like, you know,
watch, rinse, and repeat.
And apparently it says on Forbes from yesterday, another FTX executive, Ryan Salome, pleads guilty to criminal charges over companies collapse. So like it's just everyone's going down, you know what I mean? And it's just but I am not in any way surprised that this particular guy, Bankman-Fried, was like he's definitely going to be the face of all things Ponzi going forward. Like I think he kind of
not going to be Madoff anymore.
No. I think he took his seat at the table.
It's the young tech money finally getting like wrecked.
Yeah. Because before that, with Madoff, that was all like just like people sitting on like old money and multiple generational wealth.
Old dude nobody can relate to him. They're like,
right, exactly. But the FTX was, hey, it's hot. It's cryptocurrency. It's this. And then this is what we have. So if anyone was thinking that blockchain or like crypto was going to be like really the future anytime soon, this might be, I don't know. This might be, a little foretelling what's coming.
No one talks about, and this is something I didn't even realize. Cryptocurrency isn't like there's not laws around it as a legal currency. So a lot of times crypto scams, it's not regulated, so you can't actually prosecute most of it. So like you said, if you look at what he's actually charged with, it's going to be like conspiracy to defraud, but like it can't be over any of the actual crypto stuff because they can't. Like it's not legal. It doesn't exist. Yeah, it's not legal tender. It's not acknowledged. So he can basically get away with a lot more. You know?
Yeah. But it's almost like a trading of services, not actual currency, which is which is insane because it's backed up by actual legal tender.
Exactly.
You know, so it's just but that will have to change now, and I think I would think that like Congress is going to wait for this case with him to result in a conviction, and then all of a sudden it's going to be, okay, now we're the ones who are going to try to regulate this and protect all of you idiots from doing this again.
Was a setup so they could finally get something to regulate it? Government conspiracy over here.
Yes,
That wouldn't surprise me, to be perfectly honest with you. No?
Pizzagate,
Because
FTX
you've seen them stepping into a lot of the cryptocurrency exchanges.
Right,
The regulation's coming.
They're like, that's it, you blew it, we have to regulate this now.
Do you see how they, was it the founder or the CEO of Cash App was shot? Some big analyst from Charles Schwab or something was found missing. There's a lot of people in fintech high up who like
Go
gone
missing?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
look at that.
I'm serious.
It
The
does feel a
government's out there.
It feels a little conspiratorial, but at the same time, it's just a little. It does seem a little
Stupider
overly
shit has
coincidental.
happened, but we know for a fact that it's
Yeah,
happened.
yeah.
So you really can't discount anything anymore.
You can't.
I mean, we've gone from turning frogs gay to like the other end of the spectrum. Like anything in between is fair game, really.
I feel like this is also why people tend to put their trust in Hollywood a little bit more. Like, if you think about it, like, Hollywood to us seems like the biggest scam in the world.
Right.
But when you think about it to normies kind of like us, it's like, oh, well, that seems like the easiest path to get rich and famous. Fuck all that money shit. Like, that all seems complicated and tiresome. I write the right script. I make $1 million overnight.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, but even then, it's all like, that still sounds like a scam.
Well, it kind of is because it's also make believe.
Yeah, because there's also a writer's strike for every single writer and half the actors in Hollywood now.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They did not get paid a lot. Writers have actually never gotten paid. There's been a huge lobbying for songwriters because they don't make much from that.
No.
Plus,
No.
what
And
Netflix, this is
Spotify,
what
too, they
was
get,
the
like-
big thing.
they get peanuts.
Netflix was getting scripts from them that these guys were writing and then not paying them because they just decided to never make the TV show. So a lot of the contractual obligations just weren't like existing. So you'd write out 7 seasons. I mean, it can't be that hard, but it's got to be something. Whatever.
I have an option. I can exercise that option in 100 years or something, and they just never do
Yeah,
or
basically,
something.
and never do it if they don't want to.
Yeah.
That's also how
horrible.
like
It's
companies
terrible.
can screw other companies out of like other properties and stuff. Because like your option, as long as you pay into it, like you can hold over movie rights to other people. Like let's say for whatever reason you were able to option the book rights to like a legendary like book franchise.
Yeah.
But as long as you kept holding onto that option, studios could just keep coming to you like hoping to God, and the offer will get higher and higher and higher until finally you relent. Fine, I'll give you $300 million for Goodnight Moon.
That might be a reason.
Good
Have you
night,
seen
Moon.
this? A bunch of big artists have been selling their discography.
But I'll tell you though,
That's interesting to me.
It is also, but also you see all these services for like get out of your timeshare. There's going to be pretty soon like get out of your like script option. Because I mean, my God, it's terrible. It's a meaningless agreement. Yeah, it is no agreement. It's just maybe we'll do something in the future. Maybe we'll consider doing something.
It gives you temporary hope, and
that's what it is.
I think
Yeah.
that's the biggest scam.
Like a lot of dating relationships.
That's kind of what everything in America is kind of, for, a little temporary hope for everybody. Keep them next day, their next paycheck, and then
The first one's
everybody
free.
makes money. Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, because the script writing. Oh, you want 6 more seasons? All right.
Exactly.
Yeah, but Netflix was able to get away with all that like low pay, no pay bullshit because for the longest time, and even now, because what we're fighting over, is that they're still considered new media. Meanwhile, they've been producing media for about 15 years now.
Right.
Yeah, but they're still not
This
profitable
is
as the other
nothing
funny
new.
side.
That's
Yeah,
right.
the other side is easily profitable,
Right.
while this side, they're still hiding numbers. And of course they're hiding numbers because it's going to show there's no correlation between the dollars that
paying
they're
and-
spending
And the revenue,
and the revenue that they're bringing in. Like, there ain't no way in hell Netflix isn't just in a shitload of debt.
That's what I don't get, because TV shows are so expensive, and TV shows are now the most popular form of that media. Spotify lost like $30 billion in like 1 quarter. Spotify's not profitable, Twitter's not profitable, Netflix isn't profitable, Airbnb, Uber, they all suck. They're terrible.
They raise money on the social currency.
Yeah, and on the
it.
acquisition
Nothing
of
else.
customers, and they don't make anything.
That's right. That's exactly right.